Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, which is the name of the Most High, and Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And I just wanted to do a quick video just to recap a discussion we had with a brother who called into the show. He was new. He just found, we were live, so he decided to call in, and chat with us for a little bit. He seemed like a very, intelligent brother. He sounded like a very respectable, brother, and I like that guy. I hope he comes back for a future discussion. Because that brother's likable, but he's clearly off, as far as doctrine wise. And the brother's name is Mike, right? In case the brother might be listening. I told him to come back next time, when we have a show and we can, further discuss the topic. But the topic I wanted to speak about was he was coming on there saying that we can eat anything you want today, right? Because Christ made all food clean, right? And he brought up the famous, scripture, just like what Ridge, Napper brings up, which we'll get it, right? Matthew, the 15th chapter. And he used that to say, hey, look, well, it's not that which goes into your mouth that defiles you, right? But it's that which comes out. So see? So it says whatever goes in the mouth, it doesn't defile the man. So see, that proves that Christ said you can eat what you want. We went back and forth on it, which you can check out the debate. It's on the channel. But that brother got cut, man. Right? Me and Mine of God, we pretty much were doing a tag team match on it, man. All right, we brought up so many, precepts, that brother got cut. You know what I'm saying? And that just shows you, man, with these Christians, a lot of these guys don't really read much, man. And that's sad. That truly is sad. These guys out here who claim to be teachers, don't really know. Oh, matter of fact, let me get this real quick. Bear with me a second. That's a good verse to start off with, man. Right? These apostles, what the word apostle means, a teacher. Okay, a one who teaches the scriptures, right? So these church pastors, man, they're leading the people astray out here. This is the book Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 2. It says, I know thy works and thy labor and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil. And thou hast tried them, listen here, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and has found them liars. Let me read that last part again. It says, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and have found them liars. Right. So we tried these men who, said that they're teachers, of the Most High, and we found them to be liars. In particular, the, Christian church, whether it be Catholics, Seventh-day Adventist, Methodist church, hell, man, you have so many, different denominations out there, which you all stem down from the Catholic Church. But, at the end of the day, they're all going off on something. I'll give an example. Even though, say for example, the Seventh-day Adventists, teach, not to go against the dietary law, right? So that they're teaching they're teaching that the right way. But then the Catholics say you can eat, pork if you want to. But here's the catch, though. They're both pushing that white Jesus doctrine, right? They're both teach that anyone can be saved, right? As long as you call upon Christ, you can be saved. It doesn't matter if you're an Edomite. Doesn't matter if you're a Moabite. Doesn't matter what you are, right? As long as you can call on, Jesus, and you can be saved. That's what they're teaching, and that's clearly not true. Okay, so sometimes you got to give them credit because they say something that's right, but then they also say something that's wrong. Just some, food for thought. But nevertheless, I want to get into the lesson. Which again, if you watch the debate, you'll see, what he was trying to pull. Right, this is what all Christians always do, man. They always run to Matthew 15 and go to verse 17 and read on down and say, well, see, it says that Christ made all food clean. But here, that's certainly not true, though. And it's very easy to prove. You know why? Because instead of starting at verse 17, first go up to verse 2, so you can read the context of what Christ is responding to. All right, let me do that real quick. Matthew chapter 15, verse 1. It says, Then came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, listen here, why do thy disciples transgress the traditions of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. Let me read verse 2 again. This is what you need to remember. This is the question that Christ is about to respond to in verse 17, excuse me. Verse 2, it says, Why do thy disciples transgress the traditions of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. Right, so they don't wash their hands when they eat bread. This is important to remember because this is the context of what Christ is referring to when he speaks about, it's not that which goes into the mouth that defiles the man, but that which comes out. He's referring to the question they asked him. Why do your apostles, not wash their hands before they eat? That's what Christ was referring to. You have to understand the context of the discussion before you read on. Okay, you can't cherry pick, which I understand that, you have to go line upon line, here a little and there a little, to understand scriptures. That's true. But in this context, it's clear what it's talking about. Let's go to verse 17. Bear with me a moment. Okay, Matthew chapter 15, verse 17. It says, Do not ye yet understand that whatsoever entereth in at the mouth goes into the belly, and is cast out into the drought? But these things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witnesses, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat, listen here. It says, but to eat with unwashed hands defiles not a man. So you see, they'll read this, Christ speaking here, and say, well, you can eat what you want. Well, wait a second, go down to verse 20. It says, these are the things which defile a man, right, going into what he said above. But to eat with unwashed hands defiles not a man. Right, so Christ was responding to the question that the Pharisees asked him. If you go back up to verse 2, where they asked him, well, why do your followers, right, the apostles, why do they eat without washing their hands? And then Christ went on to explain that, hey, look, the germs that enter your body, from, say if you, were working, right, and then you eat without washing your hands, those germs don't defile your body. All right? Or I'll give another example. They say that a majority of people, after they use the restroom, they don't wash their hands. Okay, so we all know the germs that are in there, man, especially in the, the public, restrooms. And even some of these, workers at these fast food restaurants, man. That's why when you go in the restrooms there, they'll say on the, they'll have a sign there that says, all employees, must wash their hands, which of course there's no way to confirm if people actually follow it or not. But they have to put it in there. Why? Because obviously before they were having a problem with people not washing their hands, when they, use the restroom, right? So the germs that get into your food, they're not going to defile you if they enter your body. That's what Christ is referring to here. This isn't saying that you can eat swine's flesh. This is how Christians misinterpret the Bible on purpose. Okay, but this is clearly wrong, man. Okay, that's clearly not what it's talking about, because we went into the context in the text and seen that Christ was clearly referring to that. Let's go back to, since I'm in Matthew, I want to get another. But then we're going to go to Isaiah and get something too. Right, because this is a serious thing, man. The brother Mike was saying with us, which if you watch the debate, you know what I'm talking about. But he was saying that, I'm not saying that, we should, eat pork. But I don't think, it's a sin to do it, right? I don't think that it's going to cost somebody their salvation, if they eat pork. And I think the brother was very sincere with his, questioning. But sadly, he is sincerely wrong, okay? Because whatever way you cut the cake, it's very clear in the scriptures that eating that type of food is going off, man. Okay, and I'll show you that. But first, let's go to Matthew, the 5th chapter, and get verse 17 on down. It says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, the heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven." It says, "But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." Right. So it's very simple. He said what? Hey, look, those who teach men to follow the commandments, and they who follow the commandments themselves, are going to be the great in the kingdom. And then he went on a rant and said, oh, well, those are the commandments of Christ, right? Those are not the commandments in the Old Testament. So that's a whole nother can of beans right there, man. That's a whole can of beans. So we don't even want to get into that in this video. But that's clearly going off, because what law was Christ referring to there? He was referring to the laws in the Old Testament, because those were the laws that the people were living under. I'll give an example. If you go to, John the 8th chapter, right, dealing with the woman taken in adultery, right, the men that were there, they were ready to stone the woman, right, for committing adultery, which was a sin unto death. But guess what? What law were they going off? They were going off the law that the Lord gave to Moses, man. I mean, this isn't hard, man. And I was watching, the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, out there, at their last, street teaching, right? And Elder Apostle Gabar and, the Har were making jokes, man, saying, hey, look, just like with these, tried and refined, cats, man, you got to go easy, man, right? You got to go like 1, 2, 3, what comes after 3? And some of these guys won't even be able to answer that, man. Like with these, ITR guys. You know what I'm saying? Cats on there saying that we're living under the new covenant today. How the hell can we be under the new covenant if it says that in Jeremiah the 31st chapter, verse 31 on down, it says that in the new covenant that everyone will have the law written on their inward parts. Hell, I mean, a lot of you can't even name the 10 commandments off the top of your head. So how the hell can you be in the new covenant? That's ridiculous, man. I saw that Elder Apostle Gabar made a joke about ITR. He said that they should have, named their camp. Instead of tried and refined, they should have called themselves, tried, died, and laid to the side. Inside joke. Bear with me a second. Right, but that's clear, right? Christ was speaking about following the commandments. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, and I'm gonna go to verse 17. And these verses aren't brought out in the Christian church, man. Why? Because these Christians don't know what the hell is going on, man. All right, Isaiah 66, verse 17. It says, and they that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, says the Lord. Right. So what does that verse mean? Then he's like, oh, well, that happened already. That already happened, back at that time. Well, how the hell could that already happen if you read the 2 verses above it, and it speaks about the second coming of the Lord? So going by the context of the text, it's talking about when the second coming happens, which hasn't happened already. We got some cats out here like More Than a Flame and Pastor William Bell out there saying that Christ already returned, which is clearly going off. But I don't want to get into that here. But going by that, if he agrees, which he agrees that Christ has not returned already, so by what logic could you then sit there and say, oh, well, that text already happened? What the hell are you talking about, man? All right, it just shows you. Hey, but this is why, going back to the verse I started the video off with, man, it says what? Revelation 2, verse 2. Right, we tried them who said they were apostles, and we found them to be liars. Right, so we tried those who said that they were teachers of the scriptures, and we found that they don't know what they're talking about. Let's get one more precept. Let's go to the last book of the Bible. And bear with me for a second. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14 and verse 12. And it says, and here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushai. Right, so these are they who keep the commandments, man. It's very simple. Right, so, I'll end it off with that. I just wanted to, give a few words on that. And I'll say shalom.